my name is Muhammad, so I got that Muhammad for being a part of the Nation of Islam. Yeah. So I came here because this was the headquarters of the Nation of Islam here in Iowa. And so I came here to be a part of the mosque and everything. And then in that genesis of that, which teaches family, which teaches marriage, which teaches self-reliance and self-discipline, as well as being an entrepreneur, doing for self. Then I got married at the young age of 19 years old. And so my first marriage was, 17 years from there. And so that was the genesis, and that's how that came about, me coming here to Des Moines, and why I chose Des Moines and didn't go back to Waterloo.
Wow. So I would like to touch more, just a little bit on that religion that you brought up. Was it at Iowa that you first got familiar with the Muslim religion and stuff like that?
No, that was in Waterloo.
Okay.
And the community aspect in which you learn in Waterloo. A brother who was one of the best barbers I've ever seen in my life. He was cutting hair. And in this basement, he was playing a lecture of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And that's where, I got introduced. And the thing that drew me in the most, past the religion, and was the brotherhood aspect. Belonging to a group, belonging to a brotherhood. And that is what, I fell in love with and started my process of being a member in the nation. And that process started in 1992. So I've been a member of the Nation of Islam since October 12th of 1992.
If it was one thing that you could take with you that you've learned from that very group that's instilling to you today, what would that be?
The brotherhood. And that just doesn't just translate for me.
Yes, sir.
To just male members. That is that community aspect that we talked about. That is family aspect that we talked about. That we are each other's crutch, that we need each other. My success is your success, and your success is my success. And collectively, we are the answer to any problems that we have. And amongst our community, when we understand that, then that's where our strength lies. There may be different ways to go about it. Your policies and principles may be, your practices and policies may be a little different, but there are certain principles that undergird all religions, all thoughts, and that's where I try to stick to. I don't get in here and do a lot of arguing about, this, that, or a third. Like, there's real people out here that need our helps, and either you're willing to help them or you're not. So that's the aspect that sticks to me the most, that brotherhood, that community aspect of looking out for each other. That's the aspect that is really kind of my mantra, and the part that I use for my life.
Yes, sir. And the reason why I wanted to bring that back up, because I feel like when a large percent of the world here, Muslim or just that religion, they get maybe the culture and the religion confused.
Absolutely.
Because they see maybe this part of the world, it might be Muslim, but they have a different way of going about it than how you would go about it, the peace and stuff like that. But I don't know. I just wanted to bring that back up. But moving forward, so once you made it down here and you wanted to open up your first barbershop, how was that process for you, and what made you say, okay, after barber school, I'm gonna go open up a shop instead of do what a regular person would do, go internship behind somebody and go learn maybe for a year or two and then go.
Well, some of the greatest things that happen in life just happen by happenstance and accident and being in the right place at the right time. So I always, being that I was taught and raised, in the nation since, 15 years old, I always wanted to do for self. That's always my goal. I teach that to young people that come in here. Even if you get a job, learn it and where you can learn it to do something for yourself. So I always wanted to do for self. I happened to find my first location, which was at Easton Boulevard here on the east side, between DeWolf and East 19th Street. And full disclosure, I actually found this. I was told about this location by the owner of Platinum Cuts, Rob, because we went to school together. And he was like, bro, you see this place over here? And I saw that place and I inquired about the place. And the rent for that place was cheaper than it was to rent a booth at a barber shop.
Okay.
And again, things just fall into line. At that time, there was two sides of the building. On the larger side of the building, there was already a female cosmetologist doing hair there. So I could meet the state board requirements by working close to or next to or under a licensed barber or cosmetologist, and she worked next door. And so I was able to work there cheaper than it was to get in the barbershop and work as a booth rent in the barbershop. So that is really how that came about. And I took it from there, and that was June 26th of 1999. So today is June 26th of 2022. So it represents 23 years today, 23 years. And that's how I started, And so with that being said, I just kept, working and growing from there. But it started just kind of like that, just kind of organically like that.
So when you went to brand the name and think of like Supremes, like what exactly does Supremes cuts mean to you? I've always wanted to know that.
Yeah. So, I'm deliberate about everything I try to do. Deliberate in how I talk to people. Deliberate in how the man I try to be. So the name Supreme Cuts it comes from my teachings in the Nation of Islam. So it comes from our lessons, which is called Supreme Wisdom Lessons. And so Supreme being highest, there's nothing higher than Supreme, the greatest manifestation of us, So when you talk about God, you say the Supreme Being.
Yes, sir.
And so we had our lessons, which were called Supreme Wisdom Lessons. So I took Supreme from that and call it Supreme Cuts, being that there's nothing higher than the Supreme. So, and I started the barbershop Supreme Cuts. And I took it from that. So you go around the nation, if you go around the country, there's other people that have Supreme Cuts as a barbershop. And typically, if you go there, they are members of the Nation of Islam, because that word is very important and very strong and has a great meaning amongst the nation.
Wow. Can I? I didn't know that, because so I'm thinking. Never mind.
Go ahead. No, thinking what?
No. Well, so I thought Supreme was like the Supreme guy from New York. Like the whole drug lord type of a dude, whatever. But
so the history of the nation, if you think of New York, you think of the East Coast, you think of Philly, you think of, there's so many people tied in the ties of Islam is very strong in the East Coast. So when you think of the 5% Nation of Islam, the 5%ers, we call it Supreme Wisdom. They call it the 120 Lessons. So that term Supreme is a very strong term. So when you're thinking about people in that era making groups and doing things, when you say the Supreme thing, it comes, and that's how deep Islam is in the Nation of Islam is in Black community and Black culture across the country, but especially in that East Coast area. If you go back and think of friends and family members, there's my favorite rapper, Nasir. That's an Islamic based name. You think of Rasheed Wallace's basketball players. You think of so many different people named Rasheed and Rashida, name these different names that come out of even people who weren't even in the nation, who did not subscribe to Islam as a religion or a way of life. They took those names because that's how deep it is entrenched in that area and entrenched in that part of the country. So when you think of Supreme and a Supreme team, you go into their history, that is where they glean that name as well.
So, okay. So when you see like the kids today wearing like the Supreme logo and all this, like how do you feel like when you see stuff like that and them not understanding like the true meaning behind that?
Well, that is our way we use the word in the Nation of Islam, but we don't own that word.
Yeah, right.
You know,
okay.
But I don't have no bad feelings about it, because anytime you can inspire someone to be great and to be supreme, that's fine with me. I'm saying the principle takes precedent over everything else. You know, if our people are trying to be great and the people are using that to try to pull themselves out of poverty and do something for themselves, then I'm all for it. You know, so it does give me a sense of pride. It does give me a sense of admiration to see it. You know, when I see other barbershops across the country with Supreme and I see other logos and other things like that, you know, I don't have a problem with it at all. I wish I was smart enough to trademark it, because shoot, it's it's worth millions, millions of dollars now.
Amen.
But you know, I didn't have the financial wherewithal to do it at that time, but it definitely has, you know, a cachet to it, and thus, you know, when you think of, you take a pair of Jordans that's $200 and you throw a Supreme logo on it, now they $400.
Yeah.
You know, you get a Supreme backpack, $250. You get a Supreme T-shirt, $99. You know how to logo. It just say Supreme on it. You know, so like I said, I wish I would have trademarked it. You know what I mean?